Hello viewers, welcome to Wali Make Life to English. Today you are going to learn rules of voice. Almost in previous videos you have gone through sentences through rules and sentences through rules. In this video at a glance you can see all those rules. If you see you can easily understand and you can attempt any question. That is why let us go through the rules today. Before going to the rules, please like and subscribe. Let us see. These rules are most important for those candidates who are going to appear for competitive examinations and also for academic students. When you read all these rules, you can keep in mind and you can apply these rules to make sentences easily. Now let us see. These are all in total 12 tenses. Voice, these are all rules of voice. The tenses are in total 12. Out of 12 tenses, active and passive voice will have only for 8 tenses. And for which you don't have, look here, for present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, future continuous and also future perfect continuous. For this you don't have voice, passive voice. Now let us see the rules first. Afterwards, for each of the rules we will go on explaining examples with examples. Look here, this is simple present. Simple present active voice. Do, does plus V1. If it is a first person I or first person plural we or third person plural they, we apply this one do. And third person singular he, she, it, you, we apply does. And then V1. It is changed into is, am, are plus V3. If it is first person, it will come are or am. If it is a third person, is will come. Let us see how it is applied. First, let us take first person I. I write letters. I first person, so I do write. I write letters. Letters are written here. Letters are, apply helping verb are, written V3 comes. Letters are written by me. Suppose he writes, does place. He writes letter. He writes a letter. And here a letter is written V3 by he becomes a me object. Now let us see is, am, are plus V1 plus ing form, it comes in present continuous action. When there is am, are plus V1 plus ing in present continuous, they will have passive voice is, am, are plus being plus V3. If it is a third person singular, is will come here. If it is a plural form, we use are. Let us see. He is writing a letter. He is writing, write plus ing form, writing a letter. Next, here in passive voice, a letter is being written V3. Being written by him is him. He will have its object him. Now, if we take we are writing. We are writing letters. Then letters are being written by us. In this way, we can change active voice sentence into passive voice. Next, let us see present perfect. In present perfect, has oblique have plus V3 will come in active voice. And then in passive voice, has oblique have plus been plus V3. How it is? Let us see. He, she, they, he, she or he, she, it. We use has. For example, let us take she. She has written letters. She has written V3 letters. Letters here plural form. Letters have. We won't write has here. According to the object, we have to write letters have been will come been V3 been written. Letters have been written by He, if it is he, him, if it is she, her. If it is we, us, it will be changed like that. And then suppose we take we have written letters. We have written letters, written V3. Letters have been written by we changed into object us. Like this, we can change present perfect active voice sentence into present perfect passive voice. Now, let us see. Has oblique have plus been plus V1 plus ing. For this present perfect continuous, there is no passive voice. Next, let us come to past tense. In past tense, simple past, V2. Always the action, when action completed in the past, we use V2. I went to school yesterday. I wrote a letter yesterday. I talked to my friend day before yesterday. That is all action completed. Action shows here. Time means tense means time of an action. Here action already completed, so we use V2. Now let us see. I wrote, always will be V2. I wrote a letter. A letter was, then we have to use was written V3 by me. Suppose you write here, he wrote letters. Letters were, in plural form. In object, we have to write were. We have to use were in verb, appropriate verb before the object. Letters were written by him. Next, suppose, now let us see past continuous. In past continuous, was oblique were plus V1 plus ing form will come, and they will have their change in passive voice like was oblique were plus being plus V3. How it is, let us see. Let us apply first was. He, she, we use was. He was writing a letter. A letter was being written by him. Suppose she was writing a letter. A letter was being written by her. Suppose we use I was, first person I, also use was. I was, past continuous. That is why I was writing a letter. A letter was being written by me. Suppose you use we were writing letters. Letters were, when it is changed to object has plural form, so were. Letters were being written, V3, being written by us. Now let us see past perfect. Had plus V3. In past perfect, we come across had plus V3. I had, we had, they had. There will be no change. I had written, V3. I had written a letter. A letter had been written by me. Suppose you see, he had written a letter. A letter had been written by him. Suppose you say, she had written a letter. A letter had been written by her. And suppose you have used the third person plural, they had written, V3, they had written letters. Letters had been written by them. In this we can change past tense, past perfect active voice into passive voice. Now, just like present perfect continuous, as there is no passive voice, for past perfect continuous also there is no voice. Now, let us see future tense. Generally, we use shall or will in future tense. Shall or will plus V1. Let us take, he shall write a letter. He shall write a letter. It will be changed into a letter shall be written by him. For example, I will write a letter. I will write a letter. A letter will be written. V3 will come. A letter will be written by me. Suppose you write they shall write. They shall write letters. Letters shall be written by them. Letters shall be written by them. In the same way, we can write a simple future. Let us see future continuous. In future continuous, when you come across shall, will plus be plus VIN, verb 1 and ing form, there is no voice this. For future continuous, there is no voice. Now, let us see future perfect. Shall or oblique will plus have plus V3 will come in future perfect. I shall have, we shall have, they shall have, or I will have, they will have, we will have. You can write. Let us take he shall have. He shall have written letters. Letters shall have been written by him, or if it is she, her. Now, if we use we shall have written letters. We shall have written letters. Letters shall have been written by us. Now, when you come to the future perfect continuous, there is no voice for this also. Thus, we can change the tenses from active voice, from passive voice, following these rules at a glance. If the candidates who are going to appear for examinations, if they keep in mind these, easily they can write. They must think one point that there is no passive voice for present perfect continuous and past perfect continuous, and then future continuous, future perfect continuous. Let us come to WH questions. When WH, what are the WH questions? What, when the sentence starts with what, where, why, how, when. When these sentences start with these, we call them WH questions. When they start with WH questions, who, when who, and also verb, when it is started with who, in passive voice, by whom will come. Let us see who plus V1 S or ES. If it is third person, S or ES will be added. If it is plain verb, only V1 will be there. Let us see who writes letter. Simple. Who writes letter object. Here, by whom comes. By whom is the letter. Letter is third person singular. That is why by whom is the letter written. Suppose you write who wrote in past tense. Who wrote letters. It will be in by whom was the letter written. Let us explain all these. Let us go to next past continuous. Next present continuous. Who plus is oblique or plus V1 plus ing plus object. Let us see who is writing letters. Who is writing letters. Here it will change into by whom are letters plural, that is why by whom are the letters being written. Question tag will become at the end. You have to write question tag at the end. Next, here suppose are is there. Who are writing letters? Who are writing letters? By whom are letters being written? Letters being written. In the same way, let us in present perfect, who has written with letters. By whom letters have, letters object, that is why have, letters have been, letters have been written. We have to write. Next, suppose who has written letter. But who has written letter. By whom has, letter means one singular, third person singular, that is why by whom has the letter written, by whom has the letter been written. Like this, we can change from active voice to passive voice in present perfect of WH questions. Now, let us come to past tense. We can apply the same rule for past tense also. Suppose who, V2 will be here. Who wrote letters? In this place, V2 will be there. Past tense, V2. Who wrote letters? There will be no S or S. Who wrote letters? By whom letters were written? Letters were written. By whom letters were written? By whom were the letters written? Now, suppose past continuous. Who were? In is and are place, we come across are, were, was or were. Who were writing letters? By whom were letters being written? Or who was writing letter? Who was writing a letter? By whom was? In this place, is or are place, was or were will come. If it is third person singular, was. By whom was the letter being written? Now, let us see past perfect, how to apply. Here in this place, had will come. Who had written the letter? Who had? In has or oblique have place, we have to write had. Who had written a letter? By whom had a letter been written? That is past perfect. In this way, we can change active voice sentences into passive voice applying these rules. Now, imperative, when we come to imperative, verb plus object will be no subject at all. Suppose this imperative sentences depend on three points: orders or commands, or requests or advice. What are they? Orders or commands. Go there. Order. Please sit here. That is request. It's better to take medicines. Advice. In such case, according to the context, the imperatives will be have their implication. Verb plus object will be there. For example, post the letter. There is no subject here. Post, verb, the letter, object. Then we have to use let. In such case, in passive voice, let will come. Let object, what is the object? Letter. Let the letter and then be form will come. Let the letter be, next V3. Posted. Post, posted, posted. Let the letter be posted. Okay. In the same way, request. Please sit here. You are requested. Then we have to use request. You are requested to sit here. In such case, we use imperative sentences. Okay, I hope you have understood. In our next video, we are going to study most important topic of grammar, the queen of the subject topics, that is direct and indirect speech. Don't miss that topic. Thank you all.